everyone. I am Deepak from Udan Class 10 Rapid Revision class. Today, I am going to have a discussion on a topic Indian physiography. It is a chapter second of geography. Okay, so we'll start our discussion. Yes, let us begin. So the entire discussion is divided into two parts. In the first discussion, we'll study the entire chapter with the most expected 2, 3, 4 marks questions. And in part 2, we'll discuss most likely 1 mark questions and fill in the blanks. Okay. Let us begin our first part wherein we'll discuss the entire chapter with most expected 2, 3 and 4 marks questions. Okay, let us begin. So, which are the main physiographic divisions of India? See, when it comes to geography, you should remember the terms and you should by heart if possible, because geography is full of memory based, wherein you remember the things as it is they are. Because in sociology, in political science, you can write your most expected things or in your own words also, but geography is not that thing. You cannot add more things in your own words, so we expect, or the evaluator expect you to write the precise words what is mentioned. Okay, see the main let us start this, the physiographic divisions of India. Physiography means how physically our India is divided. Okay, means what are there in the northern hemisphere, why these ghats are there, how physically we define them, or we categorize our main part of our country, that is India. Okay, see we are having the four physiographic divisions. They are the northern mountains, as you can see the blue color here. So it is entirely covered with the mountains, so major part of it is covered with the mountains, so we call it as Himalayan range. So the northern mountains, the northern great plains, the green one what you can see here is the northern great plains. Mostly you can see the rivers over there. Then the peninsular plateau, okay, the Deccan plateau in the middle portion with certain valleys, okay, or ghats we can expect. So what we call them as Deccan plateau. And the coastal plains and islands. The coastal plains are nothing but the boundaries which are surrounding the oceans. Okay, so the boundaries which are surrounding the portion where we can expect to have the harbors, Goa, Mumbai, so Karwar. Okay, all those places which are famous for harbor where ships can exchange of goods can takes place between the countries. So these are the coastal plains here, and the Andaman and Nicobar islands and Lakshadweep islands are present. So even they are the physical divisions of India. I hope you are clear with this picture. There are four physical divisions of India. The first one is northern mountains, the northern plains, peninsular plateau, coastal plains and islands. Okay, next. State how northern great plains were formed. How you can see this 1, 2, 3, they have written this belongs to the northern plain. See, these are formed by the depositional work of three rivers systems. So 1, 2, 3 they have written. So these northern great plains have been formed by the three river systems. They are Saltaj, hopefully that is will be from one, the Ganga river and the Brahmaputra. So the northern great plains are the system of three rivers. They are Saltaj, Ganga and Brahmaputra rivers, and it is having the largest alluvial soil tract in the world. So this plain what we can see, which passes through the Punjab, then Haryana, and you can see Delhi, West Bengal here. So all these the states which are coming under this 1, 2 and 3 Saltaj, Ganga and Brahmaputra way. So we call that plain as northern plain, and we can expect it to have a largest alluvial soil in the world. So the first one is a Punjab plain. It is a Saltaj plain. We also call it as a Punjab plain. Then the second is the Ganga plain, and the third one is the Brahmaputra plain. Okay, next. Then what is the importance of this great plain? Now you know how they are formed. Okay, means they are formed by the deposition of the great rivers, three rivers. Then why they are there? What is the importance of having those three network of rivers on that northern plain? See, the northern Great Plain is very suitable for irrigation because of the alluvial soil, very fertile alluvial soil present there. It is very much suitable for irrigation and agriculture. So irrigation means for agriculture itself, as it has perennial rivers. What are perennial rivers? The rivers which flows throughout the year, even in dry hot sun also these rivers will not get dried, so we call them as perennial rivers, and they are having vast per fertile alluvial soil. Okay, so fertile means which have ability to give crops very early. It levels land, its level land support a network of roads, so we are having a good network of roads, railways, and there is a proper means of communication. As the rivers are water is a major source for any industries, so you can expect to have uh, their usefulness for industrialization, to set up industries, urbanization to set up urban. So through that in line, we have the national capital city Delhi. It is because of the three great plains, so we should thank them, and through which the trade can happen. A number of pilgrimage. What is the meaning of pilgrim? Pilgrim is a godly place or sacred place where the people visit. Okay, so Ganga river is the most sacred river, wherein the Ganga water is considered, Ganga Jal is considered as one of the uh, most widely sacred one, and which is known to what it is, which is known to take care of many diseases also. That means people get rid of the disease through the Ganga water river. So a number of pilgrim centers are located here. So these are the four important points you should able to highlight when you can when there is a question called importance of the northern great plains. I hope you are understanding. If you like this video, please subscribe, share, and do like this video. Okay, now we'll move on to the Shivalik hills. So write briefly about the Shivalik hills. See, these are they are the outermost range or the foothills to the south of main Himalayas. So the Himalayan ranges are here. Okay, these are the Himalayan range. As you can see, this is the Indian territory mainland. Okay, and the box portion is a zoomed portion here. What we can see, yes, and Delhi is a major capital city, and the national capital city of this Nepal is Kathmandu. Okay, and now you can see Shivalik hills present in the foothills of Himalayas. So Himalayas are present here in this region. They are completely Himalayas. Okay, not completely. Major part of it is Himalaya, and the green color portion what you see here is nothing but the Shivalik hills. Okay, it is along the coastal plains are here. Okay, so the blue portion here what you can expect to see, the greenish blue color is Shivalik hills, and the red color portion is still under study, so that area is not at all what is there here is still unidentifiable. So what is the importance of this portion, colored portion, we need to see in this question. So they are the outermost ranges or the foothills located to the south of the main Himalayas. Therefore, they are known as outer Himalaya. So Shivalik hills are also called as outer Himalayas because they are present at the foothills of Himalayas. They are also the lowest range of the Himalayas. They are present at the foot of that Himalayas. They extend from Jammu and Kashmir in the west to Arunachal Pradesh in the east. That means they starts from Jammu and Kashmir from our India. We are talking in terms of India. So from our Indian territory, they starts from Jammu and Kashmir, and they end somewhere here in Arunachal Pradesh in the east. They have flat bottom structured valleys which are known as dhuns. We call it as Dehradun. So they are having small valleys, very beautiful valleys, wherein the fog will always be surrounded. So we call that as dhuns. And the main city which is famous for that is Dehradun. So based on that word Dhun, we mention that as Dehradun. So next we'll be starting with the difference between eastern and western plains. Okay, so what are not plains? We are studying about ghats. So eastern and western ghats. So as you can observe from this figure, so they are present nearly in the south India, Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. The orange portion what you can see is in the western part, so western ghats, and this yellow region is nothing but the eastern ghats. So Western Ghats, it starts from Maharashtra, Goa, then Karnataka, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu. Okay, all those city major states will fall under this region. So orange portion is Western Ghats, and the yellow portion is Eastern Ghats. That is what this picture is depicting here. So what is the importance of these Eastern Ghats along with their differences will be knowing here. See, the Eastern Ghats run parallel to the east coast of India. So the Eastern Ghats, these are the Eastern Ghats, the yellow portion. They run exactly parallel to the east coast of India. So they are parallel. Similarly, the Western Ghats are continuous range and running parallel to the west coast of India. These Western Ghats, they run parallel to west coast of India. Eastern Ghats run parallel to the east coast of India. Okay, then they are lower than Western Ghats and are not continuous. So Eastern Ghats are lower than the Western Ghats. So their Ghats are very small. So in order to reach at the tip point, you no need to stay more. But Western Ghats are mostly the steeps one. Okay, Agumbe Ghat, Kudremukha Ghat, there are many lively places in order to reach to pilgrimage in Udupi. Yes, so in Dharmasthala, all those people who visit should pass through these Western Ghats. So they are very steep, they are continuous, and they are very height. But Eastern Ghats are not what it is. See, lower. So Eastern Ghats are lower than the Western Ghats and they are not continuous, but the Western Ghats are higher than the Eastern Ghats and they are continuous. The highest peak in the Eastern Ghats is Armakonda. So in Eastern Ghat we are having Armakonda. Armakonda is present here, and the Anamudi. Anamudi is the highest peak in South India. So not only in Western Ghat, in entire South India only we are having Anamudi. That is the highest peak. That's so much height it is. Okay, they extend from Mahanadi in the north. Okay, it comes from the north and they extend from Tapi Valley to Kanyakumari. Okay, so from Tapi Valley to Kanyakumari, the Western Ghat will be present. I hope you got. You should at least able to list four differences when it comes to rate difference between Eastern and Western Ghats. So next one, state the importance of northern mountains. So northern mountains, yes, so Himalayan mountains mostly. So the Himalayas act as a natural frontiers. So they are natural frontiers, they are present here. The red color lines, curved lines, what you can see here are nothing but the Himalayan ranges of India, and the largest peak of India is K2, and it is world's second. Okay, we call it as Godwin Austen K2. Okay, it is here, it is present at the tip of not at the tip but Jammu and Kashmir region. Okay, so Mount Everest is present in Nepal here, some so 8,848 meters, the highest peak in the world itself, not near to the India but in the world only it is having the highest peak. Okay, Just what is the importance of having these Himalayas or the northern mountains? See, the Himalayas act as a natural frontiers and they prevent foreign invention. So those foreign countries should not attack us, or naturally the Indian territory is protected by these Himalayan mountains. They prevent the cold winds from the Central Asia. So from Central Asia, the cold winds which are diverted into the Indian region are controlled by these northern mountains. They obstruct the rain bearing winds and thus causes heavy rainfall. So this causes heavy rainfall. What causes heavy rainfall in that region? Due to the obstruction of rain bearing winds. Their slopes have a thick forest. So Himalayan mountains, we can see entirely it is covered with the forest and ideal for plantation of crops like tea in Assam. So usually Assam is a very famous place wherein you can see the more production of tea takes place, and they are having a thick forest and very good for the plantation of the tea crops. They store a house for minerals and birthplace of many rivers. So these Himalayas are the birthplace of many rivers. Example, Gangotri Glacier is a birthplace of river Ganga. Yes, so this is how you should be remembering this. And waterfalls, very natural waterfalls you can expect at this region, and these waterfalls are also used to generate hydroelectric power. So I hope you got the most important things. Just remember, Himalayas prevent the foreign invention, they causes heavy rainfall, they are having a thick forest ideal for plantation, they are the house for many minerals, they are the birthplace of many rivers. Himalayans are having waterfalls which are used to generate hydroelectric power. So in this only we have listed around 8, 7 to 8. I hope at least 4 you should remember. Very important uh, topic it is. Okay. Next, then what is the importance of this peninsular plateau? Okay, peninsular plateau or the Deccan plateau, what you can see here. So we are having one Aravali. Okay, from the left we'll start Aravali. So this is central highland, and second Vindhya, Satpura range, then Mahadevo hills, then sixth is Western Ghats, seventh one is Eastern Ghat. So Maikal range is the fifth one. So they are present in the middle portion. Only in southern portion we are having Eastern and Western Ghats. They fall under the Deccan Plateau itself. The yellow portion, what you can see here, one portion in yellow region you can expect here is the northeastern plateau also. Okay, so why it is there? Why are the peninsular plateau? Then what is the importance of this? See, peninsular plateau is rich in minerals. So this peninsular plateau is rich in minerals. They are having thick forest and biodiversity. It has influence on southwest monsoons and is covered with the black soil which is useful for agriculture. So mostly it is used for agriculture. The Western Ghats are birthplace of many South Indian rivers. So the many South Indian rivers are originated from the Western Ghats, which are useful for generation of hydroelectric power or hydroelectricity. It is well known for hill stations such as Ooty. So 4 points you should be able to link when it comes to this peninsular plateau. Yes, now we shall see the difference between the western coastal plain and the eastern coastal plain. The coastal plain is nothing but the dark region what you can see here, which are surrounded by the water. We call it as the coastal plains. We are having western coastal plain here, which is on my left side, and the right side is the eastern coastal plain. Here eastern coastal plain Bay of Bengal, and western coastal plain is the Arabian Sea. See, it lies between Western Ghats and Arabian Sea. Western coastal plain lies between this dark color line. It lies between Arabian Sea and the Western Ghats. So Western Ghats and Arabian Sea. Here Eastern Ghats and Bay of Bengal. Okay. So the eastern coastal plain lies between Eastern Ghats and Bay of Bengal. It extends from Rann of Kutch to Kanyakumari. So this is the place where Rann of Kutch to Kanyakumari. So we can see the e- western coastal plain from Rann of Kutch to Kanyakumari up to this point, and this extends from north of river Subarnarekha Subarnarekha to Kanyakumari. So it extends from Subarnarekha from here to Kanyakumari. Okay, so you should next. It is narrow, steep, and rocky. So this coastal plain is narrow. Very narrow means small, slopey, and it is rocky. It is broader, that means it is very much wider, and than the compared to the western coastal plain. Its divisions are Konkan coast, Karnataka coast, and Malabar coast. So you can see western coastal plains are Konkan coast, Kannada coast, Malabar coast, or you can see this Karnataka coast is nothing but the Kannada coast. So we are having three coasts in the western coastal plain: Konkan coast, Karnataka coast, or and Malabar coast. Its divisions are in eastern place. Divisions are the northern Sirkar and Coromandel coast. So here we are having Coromandel coast and the northern Sirkar coast. They are the eastern coastal plains. I hope you got the difference between the western coastal plain and the eastern coastal plain. Now, what is the importance of having this coastal plains? See, the coastal plains of India provide some natural harbor which helps in carrying on foreign trade. So, through which we can have international trade wherein the people can exchange their goods. The coastal plain are useful for fishing. Obviously, the Karwar region, Sigdi Meena is famous. So, the coastal plain are useful for fishing. Shipbuilding, usually Goa has a good potential for building ships. Agriculture and production of salt. Many beaches are found along the coast and they attract the tourists. Yes, so many beaches. Goa is mostly surrounded by the beaches, the Kalangat beach, Kolwa beach. So most important Baga beach and all are present where people spend some quality time over there, and they attract the tourists. The backwaters are useful for navigation also. This in order to have certain navigation work. Okay. Now I hope this we are now talking about the islands: Andaman Island, then Maldives, Lakshadweep Island, very beautiful places to visit. People, when it comes to Andaman and Nicobar Islands, when drawing in the map, they forget to draw this Andaman and Nicobar and Lakshadweep Islands because people think that they are not a part of India, but unluckily they are a part. They are not in the major mainland, but they are small islands far from Indian region. Okay, so we should now expect to talk about this. That is the notes on this, a short note on the islands of India. So there are about 247 islands in India. So our India is very lucky to have the huge number. Around 247 islands India is having. Of these, 204 are in Bay of Bengal. So Bay of Bengal itself is having 204 uh, islands, and 43 are present in this Arabian Sea. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands are in Bay of Bengal, and Lakshadweep. So Andaman and Nicobar Island and Lakshadweep Islands are in Arabian Sea and formed by the corals. I hope you understand. You can write at least 2 to 3 points. So 4 points I have highlighted so that you can write about these islands of India. So now I'll move little fast, wherein we'll discuss about likely 1 or 2 marks questions and fill in the blanks. See, the greater Himalayas are also called as Himadri. The lesser Himalayas are known as Himachal. In South India, the highest peak is Anamudi. The eastern Ghats meet the western Ghats in the hills called Nirgili Hills. The northern Great Plain is made up of alluvial soil. Then write the extent of northern plains. So from where to where the northern plains are there. Already the northern plains we have seen. So in India they are extended from Indus Gorge in the west to Brahmaputra Gorge in the east. So from Indus Gorge to the uh, Brahmaputra Gorge. So the Indus Gorge, what is present here, we call it as Lesser Himalayas. Then the Great Himalayas here. Then the Shivalik range are here. So mention the three parallel ranges. The three parallel ranges which are at their here, three parallel ranges, we call it as Lesser Himalayas, Greater Himalayas, and the Shivalik Hills. Which are the innermost continuous and highest ranges of Himalayas? The Greater Himalayas are the innermost. So the Greater Himalayas which are present here are the mm, innermost continuous and highest ranges. Which is the highest peak in the world? As I discussed earlier, Mount Everest in Nepal in world itself is the highest peak with a height of 8,848 meters, around 8.848 kilometers. What is the other name of the Lesser Himalayas? The Lesser Himalayas which are present here, we call it as Himachal. Okay, and the Himachal Pradesh is present here below this Jammu and Kashmir region. Okay, then mention the peaks of the Greater Himalayas. So the Greater Himalayas you can see here. So there are plenty of peaks, the greater peaks. There are at least four you can remember. So the Mount Everest is the highest peak of the Greater Himalayas. Then not of the greater entire Himalayas, the Mount Everest is the greatest one. Then there is a Kanchenjunga. I hope you can just highlight one of those here. Kanchan, you can, here it is, Kanchenjunga, sorry. Then Makalu, Makulu, Daulagiri, Manasula. So all those are present. Daulgiri, Daulagiri is present here. Then Nanda Devi is present. So all those are important higher Himalayas which are present there. Why is Greater Himalayas is also called as Himadri? See, as the Greater Himalayas are covered with the snow throughout the year, so that Greater Himalayas, this Mount Everest, all those peaks, those Himalayan mountains are always covered with the snow, so we call them as Himadri. Mention the glaciers of the Greater Himalayas. So the glaciers present are Gangotri Glacier, which is the birthplace of River Ganga; Yamunotri Glacier, the birthplace of River Yamuna. Mention the peaks of Greater Himalayas. So the greater peaks are Bharjil, then Lozila, Shipkila. So three names you should remember. What are Trans Himalayas? So the Trans Himalayas are those where the mountain lying to the northwest of Himadri. So northwest of this Himadri we call it as Trans Himalayas. Which is the highest peak in India? As I discussed earlier, it is a K2. Godwin Austen is the highest peak in India. Mention the parallel ranges of the lesser Himalayas. So the lesser Himalayas are having Pirpanjal, Masuri, the Masuri we call, then the Mahabharata, Darjeeling, Dauladhar, Nagatiba. Mention the valleys of lesser Himalayas. So we are having Kashmir Valley, Kangra Valley, Kulu Valley. Mention hill stations of lesser Himalayas. The famous hill stations Shimla, Ranikhet, Mussoorie, Nainital, and Darjeeling are the famous hill station over there. Which are the outer ranges of foothills of the main Himalayas? The Shivalik hills we call it as the outer ranges or the foothills of the main Himalayas. What is the other name of the Shivalik hills? The other name of the Shivalik hills is the outer Himalayas. What are Dhuns? See, the Shivalik hills have a flat bottom. Those Shivalik hills or the outer Himalayas, the foothills of Himalayas, what we call, those are having a flat bottom structured valleys which are known as Dhuns. Example is Dehradun. Hopefully you can see this picture, the fog like structure that indicates the Dhun. Okay, which is the largest physical division of India? The Peninsula Plateau, the Deccan Plateau is the largest physical division of India. Which is the oldest fold mountain? The Aravalli range is the oldest fold mountain. Which is the highest peak on Abu Hills of the Aravalli range? Guru Shikhar is the highest peak. So Guru Shikhar in the range of Abu Hills in Aravalli range. So Aravalli range is present near the Maharashtra. Okay, and from there I hope Guru Shikhar will be present there. That is the highest peak Guru Shikhar, Aravali range. Just remember the name. What is the other name of Western Ghat? So Western Ghat, it passes through Karnataka. So Sahyadri. So mainly in our Kannada poems also, Sahyadri Himadal is something we narrate that. So what is the other name of the Western Ghats? Sahyadri. So you should just remember this. Which is the highest peak in the South India? Already discussed. That is Anamudi. Which is the highest peak in the Eastern Ghats? In Eastern Ghats, it is Armakonda. Where does the Eastern Ghat join the Western Ghat? The Eastern Ghat join the Western Ghat at the Malabar coast. So Malabar coast is the point where the Eastern Ghat and the Western Ghats they meet together. How are Lakshadweep Islands formed? They are formed by the corals. Okay, so they are islands, small corals. They join together small parts, and the Lakshadweep Islands have been formed. Mention the two parts of eastern coastal plain. So the eastern coastal plains consists of Northern Sirkar, Coromandel coast. Mention the three parts of western coastal plain. Hopefully one is missing. I hope you can remember Konkan coast, Karnataka coast, and the one more is which is the coast, Malabar coast, where this eastern and western coast meet. So the western coasts are having Konkan coast, Karnataka coast, and Malabar coast. It is okay. So you should just remember one thing is missing here. So Malabar coast is missing. Okay. So with this, we'll end our discussion. I hope you got through the each concept of this topic. So if you like this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to. Okay, and for any doubts, suggestions, feedback, comment below. Thank you again.